Welcome back, everybody. It's time to rage about the Wheel of Time. And we're starting The Fires of Heaven today. It's a bit shorter than, the last one, Shadow Rising, than the Shadow Rising. And my plan is to get it done until the end of next week. I'll still take the weekend off because I need sanity and stuff. Sometimes at least. So we're done with that one, and then I'll try to get through all of Lord of Chaos until the end of February, which should be no problem, and then we can do a bunch more in March and get the end game done through April, around Easter and stuff, I guess. If all goes well and I don't do other stuff. We'll see. So far, I've started the, what's it called? The Fires of Heaven. I've read the prologue and the first 6 chapters. And I'm angry. So, let's get this started, shall we? Cheers. All right. So, the general thing. We are kind of progressing from where we left off with the Shadow Rising, which is sort of where the entire story sort of actually gets started. I feel like, looking at it at this point, I would actually say the first 3 books are sort of like an extended intro, prologue, whatever, pilot for the show, or whatever you want to call it. And with Shadow Rising, we suddenly get like more information about the world, the past, all of that stuff. The people are spreading out more, and maybe at least Perrin gets something almost called a motivation. Fancy, isn't it? So yeah, that's sort of where we are, and now the opening shots have been fired during the Shadow Rising. Rand is now not only one prophesized Messiah, whatever, savior of mankind. No, he's 2 of them now. And it's just a matter of time until he will become the 3rd one as well, which is the Coromor of the Sea Folk. But that's something that we'll find out, and I'm still not just saying that this will be the case. I have no idea. I'm just like, talking stuff. Alright, apart from that, we have not that much going on so far. We have a long prologue, which starts with events in the White Tower. We have a bit of like checking in with Min and gang in, what's it called? So we have like the prologue, which is sort of giving us the dark side of things, or the antagonist sort of thing, which is kind of what Robert Jordan was doing before, all the way back to The Great Hunt, where we get that incredibly cheesy and shitty prologue where people hang out and talk and whatnot, However, so we get that in the prologue, then we get a bit of like Min and gang, Min and Suan Sanche and Lian, I guess is how you pronounce it. Anyway, getting into what you might call hot water, I guess. And, then the rest of it is Rand, basically. And nothing much happens so far. We still have, like, basically no pacing whatsoever, so everyone is just, like, getting there. And we come to the first thing that is kind of annoying me at this point, and that is repetition. Now, I understand that if you're writing a long series, you sometimes need to kind of refresh the reader's memories on stuff that happened before. If you are writing a series like, say, The Dresden Files, where you can possibly read every novel as a standalone. At least the first couple of them, you can definitely do that. Later on, it gets a bit more, but you know what I mean. And there's more like that. Say Discworld. You sometimes need to explain stuff that is important for your story and that was sorted out in a previous novel. This is not the case with The Wheel of Time. You can't just jump in and read book 5. You can't just start with The Fires of Heaven. This will not do. Your readership is people that have read the entire fucking thing from page 1 to here. So you don't need to explain every single thing all over again and again and again and again. And it's something that Robert Jordan is doing with abandon. Every single novel, we get a lot of this. Like, I kind of understand that, at the beginning of your new season of your show, you want to, check in with everyone's like, yeah, here's Rand, he's doing this, and like, a quick back to like what happened last time, but he does it to a level that is just insanely annoying to me. It's like, I don't know. Doesn't have to be that way, I think, and he does it annoyingly often, like throughout the entire story, the entire book. Not even like in the first chapter when we have this quick like check in with everyone, see where everyone's at right now. No, he does that all the time. We get it explained to like we were like fucking kids, basically. And that's annoying. It's not like a major thing. I'm just saying it's part of why I think Robert Jordan's writing in The Wheel of Time sucks. Is that he does that annoyingly often, which makes reading it a chore from time to time. Because, like, yeah, I know that shit. And yes, I'm reading those books one after the other, jumping into the next one immediately. So I have that stuff in my brain at this moment. But when you look back at it, those books were published 1 year, like every other year, like every year's right now at this point with these books. So yeah, chances are the people reading the book have not exactly, spent 5 years, 10 years, 11 fucking years waiting for the Winds of Winter. No, they've just basically put down The Shadow Rising a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, at the most, like 12 months ago, sort of. Maybe a bit more. But you can expect them to still kind of know what's going on. You don't have to explain it every single time, right? I mean, at this point, I know that Zenbui, the Thatcher, is an annoying twat. I know that. But it gets explained every single time that he's gnarly and complaining a lot. And yeah, I don't know. Zenbui gets called gnarly more often than Iskar Jarek uses the word in all of his fucking videos at this point. That's quite the achievement, Bobby J. However, as I said, the repetition is just a part of like why the reading, the writing, and the prose and the construction is not what you would expect it to be in a book written in the year 2022, which luckily it's not. It's a book written in like 1994, I think. But even there, you don't have to do it that way. And it's just annoying. From it being annoying, let's look at the actual stuff. So, the prologue starts out with a lot of stuff going down in the White Tower. Now, as you remember, the White Tower started off with like this huge, like revolt, the putsch, coup, when Elida Sedai, believing that, finding out a lot of stuff or suspecting a lot of stuff of what Swan Sanche was doing, like collected a lot of other Aes Sedai and was elected new Amerlin seat, marched in, had everyone stilled, and, all of that. Now she's ruling, and we have the council, where the great female conspiracy is doing its thing. It's not good. It's not super bad, but it's not good. We kind of get like a refreshment, or not refreshment, but like a bit of a explanation why all those Aja have different colors, and that they are like very much like aspects of their personality or interest or whatever. I don't know, maybe it gets explained why they ever split up in that way. I have no idea. Probably in the future, hopefully in the future, we get some explanation on that part of lore. I would very much appreciate knowing that, because right now it's just dumb. It's literally really, really dumb. And it's, once again, extremely heavy-handed. That's sort of the problem that I have with it, but, this is the Wheel of Time. Robert Jordan has a subtlety of a fucking sledgehammer, and I've said that before, and you can see it here. It's like, yes, the White Aja is cold and logical, because people that use logic are all cold and have no emotions. That's not true. They may not be, but see, that's the point. Like, we ascribe specific personality types to specific interests, and it's just ridiculous. Like, yeah, so Green Aja, whatever Green Aja actually do, I don't really know yet. Although, all right, they are sort of the battle Aja. Right? They go fighting, but what they also do, and this is really important, is they are the ones that bond more than one warder. They might even marry some of their warders, and maybe have sex? We don't know. But what we know is that they obviously all, like, dress in figure-hugging clothes and make it very clear that they have boobs and other stuff, because that's the only way we can understand that they are maybe the one group in this, like, Aes Sedai connection that does consider sexuality. It cannot just be that, they you know what I mean? It's like... The shallowness of this entire construct is annoying. It annoys me to no fucking end. And we have all of that showcased in that, like, first, like, scene with the council, where we get, like, a bit of an update on the state of the world, what is going down everywhere. And how the Aes Sedai are trying to keep a lid on it and organizing it. The interesting bit there is... the Aes Sedai are supposed to, control everything, have their, like, strings on all those thrones and stuff. And that's fine. The way it is portrayed here is ridiculous. It's just, like, as bad as you consider it could be the Chronicles of the Elders of Sion at this point, basically. It's not, but you know what I mean. It is as ridiculous. Also, it never gets explained how they do that stuff. They're a bunch of women. There's, like, less... every year, apparently, and that's what we also get told. How do they have control over anyone? How the fuck? Because they're not even allowed to actually use their power, their magic in violence. No, they're just like, everyone just, like, goes along with it for some reason. I mean, why? How? We don't get, it's not explained. It's like, yeah, well, whatever, this is fantasy, it doesn't have to make sense. It would just be nice if anyone ever thought about, like, explaining how the Aes Sedai have control over anything. But we don't. So we just have to live with it. What I like is, once again, I do think Elida is actually probably coming to be one of my more, like, not favorite, but least hated characters at this point, because at least she does have some sort of agenda and idea what she wants to do. I don't, sympathize with her idea, but from her point of view, that all that stuff makes sense. She's, of course, because we kind of know that she's, if not fully evil, then at least stupid or whatever. She has to go, like, full-on hardcore discipline all the time and showcase all her ego problems by, being almost cruel and stuff. But yeah, once again, this is the Wheel of Time. We have to broadcast characters through everything. However, at least she tries to do what she thinks is right, which is, like, take down Rand, or take Rand under control if he is the Dragon Reborn, and, actually do the thing you're supposed to do if you're, like, a world-spanning conspiracy that is in power of everything. That you should probably get your shit together and get this stuff sorted out. So yeah, good on her for trying. We also get a bit of a, like, meeting of the Evil League of Evil, or sort of like the higher-ups of the Evil League of Evil, which is, we meet Ravine, so now we kind of finally know who Lord Gabriel is. We meet, once again, everyone's favorite Lanfear. We meet Samael for the first time, who we know hangs out in Ilion, and we also know that everyone in Ilion has dumb pirate speak as their highest skill, apparently. Like, seriously. It is already ridiculous when ship's captain pirate Bail Doman talks like he just, like, fell out of Monkey Island, but it gets even more funny when Aes Sedai do it. Just, like, I mean, what were you thinking, Bobby J? Like, if you want to include dialects in your book, then at least, like, I don't know, read it out loud and think to yourself if that's exactly how you want this to read and sound. Yeah. Let's move on, though, to the meeting of the Evil League of Evil. There's a third one. Is it Grendel? Incidentally, I like how some of those names sound like almost like demons out of the extended Christian universe or whatever you want to call it, with Asmodean and Samael and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. They could all just become musicians in some Norwegian black metal band at this point, I assume. Just add like one guy with a Tolkien with a Lord of the Rings pseudonym, and they could form like a black metal band, which would be fun. You could even call them the Forsaken, not Forsaken, because that's an actually good band from Malta, which you should check out. Go check out Forsaken, Epic Doom from Malta, good guys. Apart from that, the Forsaken could definitely do a black metal band with Samael, Asmodean, and Grendel or whatever. Would work. Not Landfear, because Landfear actually was, at this point, unfortunately, a great progressive power metal band from Germany, which you also should go and check out. But to go back to what we wanted to talk about, the meeting of the Evil League of Evil. I think it's interesting. It's not good, but it's interesting. So I'm just using that for now. And that is that we have those four in one room, and we kind of get a bit of what kind of personality types they are. So we get classification and, specification, whatever you want to call it, right? We get them all sorted out into, Landfear is like planning a lot and stuff and slightly backstabby. And then we have Ravine, who is all into, control, compulsion, and whatnot. And we have Samael, who is more of like a military tactician kind of guy. We have Grendel, who I don't know what she does. Apparently, she's sort of like the female version of Ravine, because we need two people that use use compulsion with that disturbing sexual undertone to it, which So, but they're hanging out there. They're kind of planning what to do with Rand and whatnot, and it doesn't really go anywhere. I feel it's more like a look, there they are. This is going to be what we're going to set out with the next part. It's going to be everyone trying to take control of Rand, because that's sort of what we've done for the last couple of books. So why not do it again, but more so. That all of those, maybe with the exception of, we don't know much about Samael, and we don't know how Lanfear treats other people, but at least Ravine and Grendel are just over the top evil once again, because sledgehammer precision. It's basically like surgical strikes. Well, actually, only more so. I don't know. This metaphor didn't go anywhere. What I was going to say it's dumb and in your face. But that's the entirety of the Wheel of Time so far. All right, so let's go to the next bit. Well, Padan Fain, Ordeath, Mordeth is now out there in Tar Valon. He talks to Elida. Talks about Randall Thor, gives her more or less true or false information because he wants revenge. We kind of saw him move out of the Two Rivers, and that stuff was sort of solid. I think apart from still Padan Fain being a anti-Semitic stereotype, if you take that bit away, it would code him differently. He's probably the most interesting character in these books so far, because he has, he's not part of the Evil League of Evil anymore. He's his own free actor. He could cause all kinds of trouble by being actually sort of something interesting. But he still has a very big nose, and that's also very important to put in every single fucking time, because I don't know. So that's sort of the prologue sorted. I guess I missed stuff, but that's sort of the main part is the conspiracy stuff doesn't really work. We get shown that Elida is sort of not fully in control because she had to, make deals with other Aja to get where she is now, trying to do what she believes is right. And we find out that, yes, the Aes Sedai control everything, but we don't ever get an explanation on how they do that. They just do because they're like part of the great, female conspiracy that, works about everything. It sounds so dumb. Seriously. All right. Let's look at the other bits. The Rand stuff is fine. Rand is hanging out in, what's it called, in Roidian now, collecting the tribes, except those tribes, are they tribes, clans, whatever, that are going off with Couladin, and he's trying to figure out what to do while trying to not, do the things that Moraine wants with him. We get more of the sort of reluctant love thing with Avienda, which is sort of okay-ish, and the most interesting bit there is definitely that we see Rand getting like flashbacks and memories from Lews Therin, whether that's part of the, Sidene-infused madness or just part of him becoming who he is. That's something that remains to be seen, but, he starts to get like more flashbacks of that sort. That could lead to something interesting because, frankly, right now Rand is not a very interesting character. He's boring. And that's sort of most of that. We get odd, sexual stuff there as well, because as these books go on, Robert Jordan becomes more and more horny, apparently, for some reason. So we get like more like naked girl scenes all the time. And is Sandra, is that her name? The thief, dark friend thief with Kadir and the gang, is obviously walking around naked because it's very clear that apparently, the Aiel have no problem with nakedness, and while that could be an interesting aspect of, cultural differences, the way it is described or used or portrayed here just it borders on or crosses the border to gratuity all the time. We also see Rand establishing, coming back to the weird marriage thing that we saw in Dragon Reborn. Is like him being Taviran, he's standing still, and suddenly he bends the weave around it. So while Rand is getting horny or thinking about marriage or whatever, everyone around him starts getting married, and that's a problem. But we'll probably leave that behind, because at the end of it, the Couladin and gang move over the mountains, and his hands are forced. So yeah, there's that. We get some interesting world building, lore stuff when it comes to Balefire, which apparently is a back-in-time kind of weapon, which is an interesting aspect. We'll see where that is going, because, the more powerful, the more, actual, time it erases and events of time it erases. So, yeah, we'll see where all that will be going. Also, sex. Yes! You've heard this correctly. This is the first time where, Robert Jordan is not saying they have sex. He's not even saying... But it is very clear that they are actually doing more than just kissing and cuddling. They're actually getting laid. Well, Matt is. So good on you for getting laid, Matt. Without getting married, even better. Good on you, Matt. You're still a boring character with no goals, but at least you're having fun, which... Fine. Go ahead. I approve. Go have fun. Get drunk and get laid. Yeah. So there's all of that. It's just not really that interesting so far. It's all doom and gloom. He learns all kinds of stuff from Asmodean, who is now his court bard. And, we'll see where all of this will be going. But of course, Avienda now has to sleep in Rand's room for reasons that we have not yet found out fully. But it will all go somewhere, I'm sure. So, yeah. Couladin moves over the mountains, up the spine of the world, the Dragon Wall, whatever, to attack all the civilized lands, to plunder and shit, and... Well, Rand has to move now as well to prevent that or fight him or, do something. So that's sort of the setup there. We'll see where all of this is going. As I said, this is we're still in the prologue phase of this book. We just need to, set the stage for what will happen, which is probably going to be Aiel and Rand and other Aiel run into, Tyrion, I guess, and Tyr and other places for a bit of a war, because it's sort of what we need is more wars in these books, because, yeah. So, let's look at the last bit, the really annoying bit, that really, 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 it's disturbing. So, Min, Swan Sanchez, and Leanne are about to be tried for, well, mostly for sleeping in someone's barn or accidentally setting it on fire. And there's a lot of stuff wrong with that chapter, and they get like hauled in front of trial. The local lord judging them is none other than Gareth Bryn, who is, of course, former lover and captain of the guard of Queen Morghese, who is now under the control of Ravine Lord Gabriel. And we'll get into that in a second. And, yeah. He kind of takes, like, his judgment is that they need to work for him, but then they get freed by Logain and run off, and Gareth Bryn has nothing else to do but to run after them. I know I can see where all of this will be going. They'll, meet up again. At some point, Gareth Bryn will find out. We'll also find out that Ravine is sort of, controlling Queen Morghese, and that's how we get all of Andor into, disarray, chaos, and whatnot. That's sort of my guess where this plotline will be going. That's not the big problem with this plotline. There's like kind of two things. There's the idea of compulsion, which up to now has only been used in women, and kind of goes into that whole sexual predator kind of theme that we've seen before with Slayer Lord Luke when he talks to Fail, and with Ravine, also known as Lord Gabriel in Already the Dragon Reborn, when he talks to Morghese. And it is creepy as fuck. Once again, the fact that is sort of connected to those dark friends using their sexual magnetism, because there's always that decidedly sexual undercurrent in that compulsion thing. So far, at least. Is creepy. The way he does it with both Morghese and the High Lady, whatever her name is, from Tyr, who's trying to, get a new job or whatever. Establish herself in Camelin. It's creepy as fuck, and I will keep looking at it, because it's not... I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad to have our evildoers also do that kind of thing. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I'll keep an eye on it. However, let's come to the really disturbing thing. Prior to being judged by Lord Gareth Bryn, the three ladies are in a shed or whatever, locked up and whatnot, and for whatever reason, Leanne, former keeper of the records, record keeper, whatever, second in command to Swan Sanchez, starts to first change her, make changes to her dress, and then uses makeup to flirt with the Lord to get everyone a lighter sentence. Which, isn't the best storyline in the world, but so far I can sort of almost live with it. But there's the context that comes. So she is a Domani from Aredoman, which is currently at war with Terabon, as we learned in the last book. And apparently, every woman in Aredoman is all about using her sexual vials on men to get whatever she can get, and more. And that, as a whole, is already fucking weird and disturbing, because it's exactly that kind of part of what you see in Orientalism or whatnot, where you ascribe sexual abandon or other things to all like members of a specific ethnicity. It's exactly what leads to, all these terrible things happening, all over the place. Like people shooting Asian women, East Asian women, I should say, probably. I have no idea. You know what I mean? That part is exactly where we start. It's like everyone of that specific culture is all about that. That's already the start. And then we come to like, yeah, so she was trained by her mother, who was a merchant's wife, to use all her charms and whatnot to manipulate people, potential buyers and stuff. And then she became the Amerlin and never used, not the Amerlin, but an Aes Sedai and never used it and whatnot. And now she's trying it out again. And then we come to that conversation where he's like, yeah, I almost tried it out on Logain, but he seems like the kind of person who might see more than was meant, and then would just take what he wants. And my mother always said that if you reach that point, you have failed. I'm paraphrasing right now. And if you've backed yourself into that kind of situation, where a man is going to take whatever they want, you need to either run with dignity, not run with dignity, but abandon dignity and run, or learn, take your lesson. And my aunt says, take your lesson and enjoy it. And that is fucking horrific. That is absolutely fucking horrific. To put that in there, that is exactly the kind of toxicity that annoys me so much with the Wheel of Time, that this stuff is just put in there with there's nothing about this being wrong. It's like, yeah, if a man just takes your flirting as an invitation to go to sexually harass you, or not to put too fine a word on it, a point on it, to rape you, and you deserve that because you apparently failed at flirting and manipulating. It's the, she was asking for it, narrative, and it's just put in there. And then she goes and flirts, and then they're driving off. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'll do this some more. It's almost worked. Isn't this fun? It's like, what kind of image of femininity, what kind of image of consent or lack of consent are you propagating in there? Because there is no thing in there that says this is wrong. None whatsoever. And this is the context, right? This is written in 1994. And that was exactly the kind of narrative that was going on at the time. And to have this in there and not talk about it is, well, it's atrocious, is what it is. And it fucking really annoys the hell out of me. It's so fucked up. So yeah, sorry for getting a bit angry about this, but maybe we should have a talk about how that specific discussion of yeah, you deserve it if that happens, and you could just enjoy it, or at least because that's the other side. If you run, that is abandoning dignity. Fucking hell. I mean, well, Robert Jordan, master of consent, I would say. I mean, come on, that just is, yeah. And that in the same chapter as then later on, Ravine kind of using compulsion to control both Morghese and Queen Morghese and that High Lady from Tyr. It just is I wanted to punch someone after I read that. That just really, really fucking annoyed the hell out of me. So, that being said, it was chapter 1, and after I got over it and read the rest, which was the rant stuff that I talked about, yeah, I'll continue. I'll stay angry, though. And, yeah, have a great fucking weekend, I guess. I'm sorry. It really, really fucked me up. Anyway, I hope you have thoughts on this, and if I was completely wrong, then please tell me that I was completely wrong. We can have a discussion. Yeah. But this needs to be discussed, is what I'm saying. All right. Have a great weekend. Cheers.